San Antonio Spurs vs Toronto Raptors full game highlights, October 27, 2025 NBA season. The San Antonio Spurs and Toronto Raptors squared off on October 27, 2025, in an exciting early season matchup that had everything basketball fans could ask for: highlight plays, tight defense, and a glimpse of the NBA's future stars going head-to-head. With Victor Wembanyama continuing to evolve into one of the league's most dominant young forces, all eyes were on San Antonio as they looked to build momentum early in the season. Meanwhile, the Raptors entered the night hoping to bounce back from a slow start and prove they could compete with the Western Conference's rising powerhouse. The result was a fast-paced, high-intensity game that went down to the wire. From the opening tip, both teams came out aggressive. Wembanyama immediately made his presence felt, scoring the first bucket of the night on a smooth turnaround jumper over Jakob Poeltl, his former teammate. The 7 feet 4 inches French phenom showed off his expanded offensive arsenal, hitting threes, handling the ball like a guard, and protecting the rim with authority. San Antonio's offense flowed through him and point guard Tre Jones, who did an excellent job setting the tempo and finding open shooters in transition. But Toronto came ready to fight. Scottie Barnes and R.J. Barrett led the charge, using their athleticism and energy to push the pace and attack the basket. The Raptors' defense focused heavily on slowing down Wembanyama, throwing double teams, and forcing other Spurs players to step up. Devin Vassell answered that call early, hitting a pair of long-range jumpers and attacking closeouts to create offense. Rookie Stephen Castle, continuing to grow in confidence, provided a spark with his defense and hustle plays, diving for loose balls and drawing a key charge in the first quarter. Despite the Spurs' strong start, the Raptors kept things close behind a big quarter from Barrett, who scored 10 quick points, including a tough step-back three over Keldon Johnson. At the end of the first quarter, the Spurs led 28-25. In the second quarter, the game started to pick up intensity. The Spurs bench unit, anchored by Malachy Branham and Jeremy Sochan, played with great energy on both ends. Sochan's defense on Barnes was particularly impressive, as he used his length and lateral quickness to disrupt Toronto's offensive rhythm. However, the Raptors countered with veteran savvy. Gary Trent Jr. and Dennis Schroeder came off the bench to provide scoring punch, combining for multiple mid-range buckets to regain momentum. Toronto briefly took the lead halfway through the second quarter after a 9-0 run sparked by Schroeder's speed and Barnes' transition dunk. That's when Wembanyama turned things up. He went on a personal 8-0 run, knocking down a deep three, finishing a lob from Tre Jones, and swatting away a Schroeder layup attempt in spectacular fashion. The crowd at Frost Bank Center erupted, chanting "Wemby! Wemby!" as the young star completely shifted the energy of the game. San Antonio closed the half strong and led 57-52 going into the break. Coming out of halftime, both teams tightened up defensively. Toronto tried to speed up the pace, but San Antonio's length made it difficult for them to finish inside. Wembanyama continued to dominate defensively, altering almost every shot near the rim. On offense, he looked unstoppable, hitting a step-back three over Poeltl, then throwing down a thunderous dunk off a spin move that instantly went viral across social media. Tre Jones controlled the game's flow beautifully, dishing out assists and limiting turnovers. Meanwhile, the Raptors relied heavily on Barnes, who was doing it all, scoring, rebounding, and even setting up teammates like Grady Dick for open looks from deep. Midway through the third, Toronto began to make a push. R.J. Barrett went on a hot streak, hitting back-to-back threes and finishing a strong drive through contact. His energy fired up the Raptors bench, and within minutes, the game was tied at 74 apiece. But the Spurs responded like a team learning how to win tough games. Devin Vassell hit a clutch three from the corner, Sochan converted an and one, and Wembanyama capped off the quarter with a monster putback slam that gave San Antonio an 84-79 lead heading into the fourth. The final quarter was all about resilience. Toronto came out determined, with Scottie Barnes leading a 10-2 run to give the Raptors their first lead since the second quarter. His back-to-back jumpers and defensive stops on Sochan showed just how far his game has come. But as is done time and time again, Wembanyama refused to let the game slip away. He blocked Barnes at the rim, then hit a cold-blooded three from the top of the key to swing momentum back to San Antonio. The rookie Castle also played a key role late, hitting a floater and coming up with a critical steal that led to a fast-break dunk by Vassell. With just under 2 minutes left, the game was tied at 101-101. The tension inside the arena was palpable. Toronto ran a play for Barrett, but Wembanyama met him at the rim with a massive rejection, his sixth block of the night. On the next possession, LeBron-like poise from the 21-year-old star sealed the deal. Wemby caught the ball at the elbow, faced up Poeltl, and hit a fadeaway jumper to give the Spurs the lead. After a Raptors miss, Trey Jones found Sochan cutting to the basket for an easy layup that pushed the lead to 4. San Antonio closed it out at the free throw line, and when the final buzzer sounded, the Spurs bench exploded in celebration. The Spurs took home the win, 109-103, improving to 2-0 to start the new NBA season. Victor Wembanyama was once again the headline, a dominant 33 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks, and 3 assists in a performance that left fans in awe. Devin Vassell added 19 points, while Trey Jones had 11 points and 9 assists. Jeremy Sochan contributed 10 points, 7 rebounds, and stellar defense. For the Raptors, Scottie Barnes led the way with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, while R.J. Barrett chipped in 22 points. Jacob Poeltl finished with 12 points and 10 rebounds, and Dennis Schroeder added 11 off the bench. After the game, Wembanyama spoke about the team's growing chemistry. "We're having fun, we trust each other, and we're learning to close games together. That's what matters most." Coach Greg Popovich echoed the sentiment, praising his team's maturity and defensive intensity. "We're not perfect, but the guys are buying in, and when you have a player like Victor, everything starts to click faster." For the Raptors, head coach Darko Rajakovic remained optimistic despite the loss. "We battled," he said. "Our young guys played hard, but we've got to be sharper in late-game situations." He specifically praised Barnes and Barrett for their energy and leadership, calling them the heart of this team. This matchup was more than just a regular season contest. It was a glimpse into the NBA's next generation of stars. Wembanyama continues to look like a once-in-a-lifetime talent, while Barnes is blossoming into Toronto's franchise cornerstone. Both teams left the court with their heads high, knowing they had just given fans an early season classic. As the Spurs head into their next game against the Denver Nuggets, excitement continues to build around what this young core can achieve. The combination of Wembanyama's brilliance, Popovich's experience, and the team's unselfish play style could make San Antonio a real problem in the Western Conference this year. Final score, San Antonio Spurs 109.